I mean, if you look at that on the screen there, the Uruguayan has scored only 4 goals in 21 appearances in the Premier League this season and just 6 in 35 for all competitions. I just can't see how Núñez starts in this one, mainly because others are fit as far as we know at this stage. So also, let's be brutally honest, this is the manager questioning your mentality. Now, some are going to say, no, he's not. It was just it is because he's saying that you should have Endo's mentality, which is easier said than done. I don't think Endo always gets the flowers he deserves, but it is saying he's almost too much in his own head, whether it's, we want to call it sulky, like just whatever you wish to call it. It is Arne Slot having a bit of a dig at Darwin Núñez's mentality. So I struggle to see a couple of things. And that probably leads on nicely to this one. If you've seen that, the embargo quotes last night, Arne Slot mentioned, Lewis Steele called it fair play for him from the Daily Mail. Now we have a very good idea about that, i.e. summer plans. I'm not going to tell you which positions we prefer, but it is clear that we've assessed the squad, where we improve, and that's where we go in for the summer. It was quite an extensive, list, notable comments in the embargo section. Well worth a read of different articles if you can see it, if you've got the time as well. I think the thing that was telling is Arne Slot talked around, no, this summer was about assessing himself with Richard coming in. People like it or not, that was why a lot of business was not done. He wanted to fully assess the squad. And obviously they all came back late, didn't they? It's easy to forget that the Euros, the Copa America, a lot of the players he's only had a short time with pre-season, hence not a lot of changes. But now, and as I'm saying this, I absolutely know someone's going to be shouting up like monitoring FC. They don't buy players, FSG, all the other things that will come up. And what I even liked is I saw this morning on social media, quasi mechanics observation FC. There's variance in how people describe it. I get it. But Arne Slot saying that, he spoke to Richard, he mentioned that in the article as well, and they've assessed the squad. Now, for me, in terms of his summer plans, the first thing that happens is they want to get Darwin Núñez out the door. That we obviously want him to do as well as he can until the summer, but in the summer, he will go. I think there's little to slim doubt on that, none possibly, but we'll see what develops. Saudi seems the favourite, doesn't it, in this regard? So a forward will be on the docket. I think there's big question marks around Luis Diaz as well. And if anyone saw the Pipe Sierra tweet, he mentioned it, didn't he, as well, about, Luis Diaz has not received sort of an offer or not been in talks with Barcelona. However, they're aware of his situation and waiting to see if there is a renewal from Liverpool. I don't think there will be. So I think the forward line is there to be assessed in the summer and there will be changes. Left back, for the love of sweet baby Moses, there's got to be someone who can play left back come in, zero doubt about that. And the fact, if you think back to the summer, Zubamendi, that's an obvious one, isn't it? At the same time, we're fully expecting him to come in. Oh, sorry, a midfielder, just to be clear, not Zubamendi, to come in there because Endo, massive question marks again. Harvey Elliott, the question marks are just starting to grow there at the same time as well. So, I don't think that will be it because obviously there's questions around Salah, Virgil, Trent's contracts. Ibu still got to sign a renewal as well. He'll have a year left to go, as will Robertson, Kelleher. I mean, there's just so many things to do. I can't envisage it not being a busy summer. Time will tell on this one. Hey. And speaking of busy summer, there's quite a few articles on the AI website this morning. And there's a few starting already around players that were linked with quite naturally. So this is a player that I did want to mention. There's the article on Carlos Baleba. Me and Bart's have run him on Transfer Market Metrics if you want to have a listen to that at any time. Just as a quick refresh on what we said there. Key stats, some advantages over Ryan Gravenberch in terms of his defensive metrics, and they are superb, as Bart's called out there, for a number 6 in terms of tackles, interceptions, blocks. Clearance isn't really naturally, as he said, what we expect from our 6. Good aerials as well. There's a lot to like. Maybe the question marks are around passing. You see his pass completion. It's still very good, 88.6%, but as Bart's called out in this, those passes attempted, they are lower than a standard Liverpool midfield. We do look, as we know, when Slot looks for a 6, as he talked about, that can move quickly and move the ball. So, I mean, if you look at his pass completion, carries, progressive passes, they are down, especially the progressive passes. Look at that, considerably down against Ryan Gravenberch. So I like him. There is a lot to like about this player. There's a lot of stories now starting to do the rounds. The other thing to consider is Carlos Baleba. Brighton are not short of a pretty penny by any means. You suspect the likes of Ferguson depart there. Can I see it? It would take massive, massive money. And I just think the funds are earmarked elsewhere. Could be wrong. Would love to be wrong. But we'll have to see if that one comes to fruition. Other stories that have come up this week, transfer related. Dean Huijsen, and coming up, me and Bart will be running his numbers as well as a few others on Transfer Market Metrics, episode 14 coming up this week. Now, Dean Huijsen, a bit of a spoiler alert. I don't want to go into this too much because, as I said, we are doing it. There is a lot to like, especially if you look at some of his stats. 96th percentile for interceptions. Yes, Bournemouth do play a bit deeper, a bit of a different system, you could argue, but very good on clearances. Pass completion is a little low, but a good number of passes there. There are a lot of stats to like. I don't want to give too much away because I'll let Bart talk through and run his magic. The only thing I do want to call out, and maybe remember this, so we scroll down, just remember that stat, 57.6%. Maybe, just maybe, the only thing that will count against him. But we will do a full analysis, a full profile rundown for you there. Speaking as well of transfer market metrics, we did a few players the other night for you, quite a few players. We looked at Matthias Cunha, we looked at Alexander Isaac, and we even compared them all. We run back on TK, Semenyo, João Pedro, and put these boys in the mix as well to see where Bart's will rank them. So I won't give too much away just in case you've not seen that. But yeah, there's an attractiveness to players that we have looked at recently on that show. Let's leave it at that, eh? But while we're here, we're talking about the various things on the YouTube channel, the various pods, the downloads that you've got. Naturally, there's plenty of build-up from City. Dave talked about it, and with Carl in AI Scouted, that's well worth a watch, well worth a listen. Had a bit of a look on Daily Red, didn't he, in there, and Rival Recon as well about City. So there's various shows. Also, Trev spoke to Jan about it. So we have got City build-up content coming out our wazoo. We are well covered for you. Even David Lynch, me and him talked about it at the start of the week as well. His thoughts around this game. And as I said, you've got there transfer market metrics and various things for yourselves as well. Thinking ahead to this game, well, you've got various things available for you. You'll have Jack doing his pre-match, running through everything in that regard, and hopefully setting the scene. I mean, there's a lot before it gets to that, but there'll be that. There'll be Gags with the Gags Tandem show afterwards, Raw. So it'll be Trev and his usual accompaniments. That's the right word, isn't it? Yeah, the usual crowd talking about the game. Hopefully, ladies and gents, with all focus on City, it's all about 3 points, isn't it? 3 points just sets the tone for your entire weekend, I think. What I mean by that is we just bring up this table again and think where we sit. It's always, sounds like mastermind now, but it's always a started where you finished job for this one, as I think about the weekend. We are 8 points clear right now. Arsenal have got West Ham at 3 p.m. I don't think anyone's expects anything from Graham Potter's boys at all. I think they've got a few injuries at the same time, Paqueta out, etc. So you expect a healthy Arsenal victory. So let's just assume they're on 56 points, as in 5 ahead of us with 5 behind us even, with 26 played. The gap would be that bit smaller. And a draw to put it back to 6, having played a game more, it would be okay. But you're just starting to think Liverpool are drawing a lot of games. They're dropping a lot of points that way. It's not what we want. If you look at this run of form, that grade D, and it is a bit of grey in that essence, would just be on the horizon too much. Whereas the green W, as the Premier League show with its form guide, to move that to 64, it just changes the weekend completely, doesn't it? Let's be honest. Fingers crossed. I know it'll be dominating your thoughts like it's dominating mine. Enjoy your weekend, whichever country, whichever city, whichever continent you're on. That, ladies and gents, was another Daily Red for Anfield Index.